We live in a world valued on skills. We place a lot of value on being able to, say, cook, play music maybe, or maybe even logistics or finance. But one skill that I don't see get a lot of attention, and is probably the most important skill of all, is human psychology. Regardless of whatever skill you have to work with others. So why wouldn't you be adept at understanding human nature? My name is Brent, and I've spent 5 years studying the subject. I've read a plethora of books on the subject, and I'm here, and I'm going to teach you everything that I've learned. Now, human psychology is a broad and vast concept. It finds its roots everywhere from influence to seduction to even sales. I'd even go as far to say that it is a necessary skill, as a man that doesn't know human psychology ultimately doesn't know himself. So, behind that theme, in this first video, we're going to talk about emotional control. A man that is not in control of his emotions inevitably will be controlled by someone else or something. Now, before we dive into emotional control, we have to keep one thing in mind, and that is the pleasure thinking principle. What the pleasure thinking principle is the tendency to gravitate towards thoughts that are more pleasing to us, and the thoughts that aren't so pleasurable, we don't really like those. For instance, a man that is addicted to a drug may know that it's bad for him, but due to his pleasure thinking principle, the thought of not having that drug is so bad that he doesn't think about a world like that. In his mind, the drug may make him better or make him more in tune. Now, as humans, we're all susceptible to the pleasure thinking principle. The idea of you thinking that you're immune to the pleasure thinking principle is an example of it in itself. But there is a way to combat this. You must view yourself as a mediator of your thoughts and not being a victim to your thoughts. What I mean by that is, just because you get a thought, that doesn't mean it's true. Learn to question everything. Alright, so now that we have that principle out the way, let's get into emotional control. Now, in life, we are all prone to ups and downs. And whenever the downs come, you can't always go around reacting like we sometimes do. First things first, increase your reaction time. The goal is to respond to situations. It's not to react. Reaction comes from a place of no control. Response comes from a place of self-control and confidence. Find some time to get yourself some space between you and the situation. And you've got to remember that sometimes you must learn to accept the facts and accept that sometimes in this situation things are not the way that you'd like them to be. However, that does not change the fact that you can make a move. So your main goal is to not make things worse. Understand that emotions are like fire. The more and more oxygen you give them, the hotter and hotter they burn. The more attention you give to emotion, whenever you're feeling angry and you just stew in that emotion, what you find is you find yourself more and more. But what you then must do is realize that you are angry, then you must transmute that energy to positive action. Now, this is probably the best usage of these emotions, as emotions, they give your actions that extra oomph, that power. Emotions are like the horse, with your rational thinking mind being the rider. A horse without a rider is just gonna knock and buck and end up hurting itself. However, the rider on its own is not powerful enough to do anything. So it's all about balance, guys. That's the main thing. It's all about not letting your emotions possess you to do something that you wouldn't normally do. But it's also important to keep in mind that the goal is not to suppress them. The goal is to use them to better yourself. Now, once you master this, you're already a step above 90% of people. Whenever you look at the masses, most people are not in control of themselves. The masses, they find themselves in situations that they don't realize is their own making. They will forever call it fate due to their pleasure thinking principle being so strong in them that they don't have the ability to see the wrong in their actions. Now, that's the first step in becoming adept at human psychology. It all starts with you. Alrighty, that was just a quick little tidbit. I hope that you found value in the content. Now, if this type of knowledge interests you, I am launching a course for the new year. Now, I plan to cover topics encompassing sales, human psychology, influence, leadership, seduction for all my dirty dogs out there, and I could coach you to your first $10,000. Now, with such an expansive course, of course I can't give it out for free. But if you do pre-order it before the new year, you will get 50% off permanently. The course is $30 per month, meaning if you buy it before the new year, For the rest of the time that you have it, you will be only paying $15 a month. Now, for info about pre-ordering, hit me up at this email. Yes, I know that it's a typo. I'm working on fixing it. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this little shindig, and hopefully I'll see y'all soon.